And welcome to What's Up With This Weather. Here we are, almost into August. Can you believe it?
Not really.
It's absolutely wacky. The 29th. So what does that mean? Today's Wednesday. August is Friday.
Yes.
Is that right? No, August is Saturday.
I think yes.
I got that wrong.
All I know is it feels like August outside.
Oh, yeah, and then some.
Mhm.
So there's a 3-week stretch of weather that is typically the hottest of the entire year in Oklahoma, and we find ourselves in it right now. So, it's not completely out of the norm to get temperatures like this. Now, the stretch that we've had is definitely long. It's a long stretch. It is a heat wave. We'll call it that because we're talking about a week of these temperatures and dew points and humidities and all this stuff that just won't seem to go away. The good news is, and we're going to finish out the show with this a little bit later. I'm going to make you wait, but
Okay.
we'll look at that 7-day forecast because there is some relief on the way. The big old heat dome that's right overhead is going to move on. It'll move back to the west. And of course, that'll be really good for us. It'll get the northerly flow back and the northeasterly flow will come back, and that will help us out a great deal. So, it's been hot. We know that. Let's go ahead and look at the time lapse on Max 3 from this morning because it was another one of those mornings where you wake up and you start going out and about and these are drive times in the morning right here, 7 to 8 a.m. And you're like, wow, look at the clouds. They're actually filling in even more. This is great. Maybe it's going to be like last week. I believe it was Thursday or Friday where we had the clouds that lasted until like 3 p.m.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. I think maybe that was Wednesday. Maybe we were talking about that on last
I think
Wednesday's
last
episode.
Wednesday felt a lot cooler than today.
It all kind of blends together for me. But the first day that was, supposed to be the start of this heat wave, the clouds hung in longer than we thought. And we had some rain showers and they kept developing on the back end. And it was all just awesome. But then we got back to reality. And like this morning, as you see right here in this time lapse, it was clouds that looked to be kind of thick and dark and it looked like it could rain and all that good stuff. And then it just unfortunately didn't. So that was how everything started.
Tease.
Yeah, that's called a big tease right there for sure. So what we're talking about in the forecast, there's a beautiful look of southwest Oklahoma right there in Lawton. So hot now. Outside, definitely hot. Less hot Friday. I skipped over Thursday, tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be about identical to today. And then, yes, weekend relief is on the way. That's going to be really nice. The temperatures that'll be coming. So there is that look at southwest Oklahoma in the Wichita Mountains. Our Lawton camera, which is actually to the east of Lawton, looking back off to the west and mostly sunny skies down there. So it's another day, unfortunately, where we have the heat advisories that are out. Central and western Oklahoma is in a heat advisory. Extreme heat warning is basically the highest tier of these advisories that you can get, and that covers areas to the east of Oklahoma City, so including the Tulsa area, McAllister, Sallisaw, all the way up into northeastern Oklahoma. Heat index in the heat advisory, the orange, 102 to 112. Some folks could get those heat index readings close to 118 to 120 today. Yikes. And here's the drought monitor. This does come out every Thursday, but there's not really anything that's going to fix this. We haven't really had measurable, meaningful rainfall, so I do anticipate this to at least stay the same, but possibly get worse as the new one comes out for tomorrow. We'll show that to you. I'll show it to you on the new newscast tomorrow on KFOR. So looking more long range here, this is the Climate Prediction Center 8 to 14 day outlook, August 5th through August 11th. It's not a huge signal for below average amounts of precip, but it is, unfortunately, dips right in Oklahoma. You can see there. And the reason above average is over the desert southwest is it's a really favorable monsoon pattern where they get the daily thunderstorms. So Phoenix, Tucson, Yuma, Arizona, that's good news for those folks out there in the desert southwest. Here's the temp outlook. It is the entire country, entire lower 48. That is above average, either a little above average or higher chances of widespread above average temperatures in this same time frame. So I just put this together this morning. So this is the brand new outlook here, August 5th through 11th. We call that medium range outlook, even though it seems long range. It's called medium range. So here's the heat dome where it sits right now. It is really intense in New Mexico, parts of Colorado, Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle. It stays about the same tomorrow. I mean, the colors look the same, the scale of it looks about the same. And then as we look into Friday, well, here's some changes. Watch as it's scooting back off to the west. And look up near Omaha, Nebraska and Iowa and all that. There's some greens and yellows on the map. Those are below average temperatures. Here's Saturday. See the little wind dots? They're coming from the north. That's jet stream flow. And even by Sunday, it's actually northeast. So the heat dome is strong out to the west, but we get this jet stream flow pulling in from the north and east and squashing the heat dome back off to the west. That is some really good stuff right there for sure. Low temperature today was 77. I want to show you all the lows. A lot of folks didn't go below the 80s. Look at Tulsa. Look at Enid. The minimum temperature today was 82 degrees, 81 in Ada and Chickasha, and now we are 99 in OKC. It is 100 in Enid and Stillwater. Again, this is just part of the equation because the heat index is quite high too. I'll show you that. This is how temperatures compared to 24 hours ago. They've come up. We still have plenty of dew point and humidity, especially northeast Oklahoma. Here's the heat index. Let's pick out some numbers right here. We've got about 108 just off to the western part of Garfield County, 104 across the OKC metro. There's a 108 in southern Oklahoma. And it is now 1:36 in the afternoon. So some of these will still continue to go up. We're going to take a short break here. We got a lot to come up here talking about it's so hot outside that the Oklahoma Zoo is changing their operating hours. We're going to talk about that. There's an awesome, great state that we're going to show you about little storm chase vehicles with Gail and Culver. And we're going to play with this. What is this thing? It's a little weather
I'm not
gadget.
Sure. A meat thermometer?
Yeah, it could be if you want it to. We're going to take a look at this and how it can measure our heat wave coming up after the short break on What's Up With This Weather. And welcome back to What's Up With This Weather, end of July edition, heat wave edition, it's too hot edition, when will this end edition?
October?
All the above, yeah, October. Gosh, it can't come quick enough. A lot of folks
say that.
feeling
I
like
should not say that.
Hey, it can get hot in October too.
I know.
Man. So we left before the break talking about this little gadget right here. And this is a little pocket weather station. And there's a lot of these you can get. Some of them $30, $40, something like that. I've had this one for many, many years. It is a little more expensive than that, but this one is hand calibrated. It's called a Kestrel is the brand, and they have a bunch of different models. And what's so special about it is before it leaves the factory, it's hand calibrated. It comes with a little certificate. Somebody signed it.
Wow.
And in just a second, not yet, but just a second, I'm going to show you some of the readings that I measured with this over the weekend. So we know it's really accurate. It does wind, it does wind chill. We'll take it out in the winter when we're showing you, how cold it is or snowy or right here on top is a little fan. So that actually measures the wind speed. This white dot right here, right there, that is the hygrometer, which is a fancy word for dew point and humidity sensor. And then this little coily blue thing right here, that's actually the temperature sensor. So the way you actually measure with this, and I'm not going to do the full string, but you kind of twirl it like this and let the air move through it and let it register the air around you. Because if you don't, so here's the temperature in here, 74. If you don't, watch this. I'm going to hold it and it's going to start taking my body heat and artificially going up. So you see that?
Yeah.
Or if you talk, maybe you're talking, there's water vapor coming out of our mouths. The little white humidity sensor will get that, your breath, so it'll take the dew point too high, things like that. So these are really, really cool. But when you think of a weather station that we've talked about the mesonet or things like that, these permanent weather stations, people aren't near them. They're high, they're in a fenced-in area. They don't have somebody, their hot, clammy hand like mine holding onto it or breathing on it or doing that. So when you take measurements off of something like this, you have to get it away from your body. Now, having said that, I did that this weekend, and this was on Saturday on the back porch. So this is a shaded porch. It was in the shade, and it faces off to the east. So early afternoon, the sun hadn't hit the bricks or the concrete for several hours. And that was the temperature at about 2 p.m., 99.4. I did the little twirly thing. Now, even more impressive is the next image. That is the heat index in the shade, calibrated thermometer right here.
Okay.
And the mesonet was not far off, just a couple degrees less hot. Now,
And this is again at the 2 p.m. measure.
This is the 2 p.m. shaded porch. Now, a couple things
Let's
that I
look
was.
at them together. I'm going to flip back to
Yeah,
the
let's go
first
ahead and look
one.
at. There's the temperature.
Okay.
99.4. Mesonet was about 99 too, the nearest Mesonet.
Okay.
So that was spot on.
And
then heat index.
Wow.
So it was about 3 or 4 degrees, I believe, above what the nearest Mesonet was saying. But I do believe this reading, and I believe it because there's a creek that runs right behind our house. So that adds a little bit more humidity. People were watering around. That adds more humidity. So the measurement sites are really controlled areas. Okay. They have gravel down them. They're not necessarily by water sources or anything like that. But it's entirely possible that where you live could even be a little bit higher than that because of things like nearby water. Lots of people watering their lawns. You water the lawn in the middle of the day, a lot of it just evaporates. All right. You really got to soak it to get it to go down in the soil at 2 p.m. if you're watering. And then that creek that was right there, and that's just baking in the sunshine. There's barely any water flowing in it, so it's just evaporating. So, in my opinion as a meteorologist, I believe the 117, even for something like this that isn't, official,
and anyone can purchase those.
Yeah, these are great. I mean, it doesn't have to be this brand. This is just, this is one of the brands that's been around for decades. This is the 3000. It's actually kind of a lower to mid-range, kind of low mid-range model. The higher ones, a lot of forestry services use them. They can go up to $900.
Sure.
It's just a higher level of calibration. There's a few more features on them, data logging, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you can get them cheaper. Another brand name that would be $30, $40. This one's a little bit more than that, but my goodness, I've used the heck out of it. Storm chasing, you can put it out the window and tell where the boundary is. Oh, we just crossed the dry line. Or, you can measure winds. I've measured winds 60, 70 miles an hour with this. It's waterproof. That's fun.
I would love to add it to my camping backpack, honestly.
Oh, it'd be perfect for that.
It'd be great, just to keep your family safe.
You can even stick it in the water in a pool or a stream. The whole thing is waterproof and see what the water temperature is.
That's pretty cool.
And let's say you put it in too much wind, you can just pop out your little impeller is what it's called, and just put a new one in. And so it's really a fun thing. And as a weather nerd, certified, I have fun playing with it.
You are certified weather.
I'm certified, but 117, that's just nasty. We'll talk about the zoo changing hours coming up, but I want to watch this great state with you, and we'll talk about it. This is a really great one that Galen Culver did, and he just celebrated 35 years of doing these great state packages all over Oklahoma. I talked to him. He says he's done nearly 500,000 miles traveling for this 35 years of stories about just remarkable Oklahoma everything. This one, you mentioned it to me last week. I'm glad you did because I want to watch it together with you. It is about someone that makes replica storm chase vehicles. Without any further ado, let's sit together and watch this and we'll discuss.
There was a time when Connor Sanchez was afraid of stormy weather.
I was a little dramatic.
Not necessarily the gray clouds, but the loud noises at night.
If there was thunder, I'd hide in the bathtub.
But as he got older, the winds changed, and he found himself fascinated by storm season, as well as others like him drawn to follow violent weather.
I'd put my cars outside and watch them get tumbled away in the wind. It was really fun.
About a year ago, he began using just about anything he could find to build replicas of his favorite storm chase cars.
This one's based off of a Vortex 2 truck.
Storm chasers themselves are well known for modifying stock trucks to make them sturdier in the face of hail and high winds.
The Dominator 1.
They put radar dishes on them and spikes to anchor them to the ground.
Almost all of them. This one does too.
Connor does the same with tiny electric motors, duct tape, and anything else lying around his grandpa's shop.
Electrical wire and license plates.
Over the past year, he's built a fleet of more than 50 storm chase vehicles. Most of them light up and spin and drive. At 15, he's definitely ready to move up to bigger cars he can actually climb into and chase with himself.
Have something that looks like this, like a Tahoe or a Yukon with a big old hail cage on it.
He has definite plans and a dream of actually being inside a tornado and living to tell the tale.
I could imagine just seeing stuff fly by like a tree.
This summer, the weather is, of course, more hot than stormy, but he's biding his time.
I have to stand out in the front yard and yell at the clouds.
Next spring might be different, and the one after that, well, the sky is the limit. Near Roth, Galen Culver, News 4. Is this a great state or what?
I absolutely love that.
Isn't that awesome?
And he's got forewarned vehicles there too.
I know, man. That was awesome.
That is so cool. The little, I don't know if you noticed when you were watching, the little, some of them had rotating
Yeah, I'm gonna
radar.
pull it up again and we can talk about them.
Yeah, it's really cool. So he was 15. And,
There was a time when Connor Sanchez
he's a
was
sophomore,
afraid.
And it says he's built, let's see here, more than 50 of these.
Mhm.
And they took their work to Wakita for the annual Storm Chaser gathering, which we've gone to in September. And he's shown off his models, which is so cool. So you can see it looks like a lot of hot glue,
A lot of hot glue.
some electrical tape, as he said. I'm just kind of looking here along with everybody. And when they show it, that right there, that's called a phased array radar. It's flat. And it can actually, it's new technology that can actually bend the beam without rotating. Really cool. That's a Mesonet mobile Mesonet truck. I don't know what that was. There's a little Doppler on wheels.
His own creation.
Yeah, his own creation.
Yeah.
Phased array radar, and looks like he's got multiple dominators, not just one.
You might need a backup.
Look at all those little motors on there. That's really cool.
I think it's really cool that he is doing this, and I believe he will be chasing someday in an actual vehicle, no doubt.
Looks like he's got quite the workshop out there. I think they said his grandpa's.
His grandpa.
Yeah, so he's got a nice outbuilding there, and
it looks like he has room for a real storm chaser in his future there in that garage.
Yeah, I think he just moved that tractor, and there you go. Yeah. So that he was talking about the Yukon or the Tahoe, the Hail.
Look, a News 4 one.
There's a News 4 one.
Like it too.
We have one. Yeah. I think it's the same. It's a GMC. Yeah. It's either a Yukon or something. It's the same thing. Same color too. It's white. Yeah. I drove that with Kevin Josephine once. And man, good for him. That's really cool stuff. So, of course, as always, Galen Culver, he has a way with words, with writing, and with finding all these stories. That's just absolutely incredible. I mean, to go from something.
He's been on every inch of this state, great state.
Yeah,
he's for sure driven it.
You go from, I mean, he's gone to every river and creek, small restaurants, storm chasing vehicles.
Yes.
I mean, there's really.
Clown, a carny, he's done it all.
He's done it all. And he still comes up with new stuff 35 years later. Amazing.
It is.
All right, so the heat is back. We're measuring it. It's brutal outside, so much so that our great zoo, the Oklahoma City Zoo, is changing their hours. We'll look at that. And rain is rare in July, in the end of July, but we're going to take you to a time when we had just a deluge of rain in Oklahoma. We could use it now, but this was too much. We'll take a look at this week in Oklahoma history and talk about the zoo coming up after this short break. And welcome back to What's Up with This Weather. Here we go, talking about the heat. Again, the heat is on. We've had heat index values the last few days, just like 10 to 20 sites above 110 in the afternoon.
It's not
every
felt
day.
great.
No, it's not felt. That's a great way to put it. It hasn't felt great.
Felt great.
It could be better. It could be less hot.
I could see improvements.
We could see improvements. That's right. So this was put out a couple days ago, beginning last Sunday. So this went into effect last Sunday. The Oklahoma City Zoo adjusted the normal hours due to this extreme wave of heat. So now, starting last Sunday, and it continues until they deem things are going to be better. The zoo is going to be open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the last call for entry, so the last time you can get in is at 1 p.m. now. And they're working on the hours for all guests and the zoo friends to ensure, I'm just kind of reading verbatim from it, both guests and park animals beat the heat this summer. They're going to remain on normal schedule for summer camps and Nature Explorers preschool. So things like that you may have enrolled in will be
indoor activities.
Are going to be unaffected or are unaffected. Zoo officials are going to monitor the weather as the heat continues and share any updates on social media. So I would assume that this is kind of a day-by-day situation, and looking at the forecast, it's still the different hours are in effect right now. There's a chance maybe for this weekend that they get modified a little bit, but we're not done with the heat just yet. In fact, there's still quite a bit more to go moving forward. So I think we'll kind of we'll look at this week in Oklahoma weather history, and then I did promise that we're going to take a look at the 7-day forecast. So we're going to kind of look at that stuff together because, again, there is some hope of some relief coming up here in our not too distant future. But again, it's kind of brief. We'll take it, but it's brief. So we're going to go back to the year 2013 when it was a very rough year. We had not only the Moore tornado, May 20th of 2013, and then the El Reno tornado, May 31st of 2013, which is recognized as the world's widest tornado on record, winds over 300 miles per hour. And then after El Reno happened, it dissipated in Canadian County, but all the thunderstorms came together and kind of collided over Oklahoma City, May 31st of 2013, to give just horrendous flooding. That turned into being deadly flooding, unfortunately. Okay, so flash forward a little bit later. So this is going to be, let me get my notes right here. Let me get them correct. This is going to be July 25th through the 26th of 2013. So almost about 2 months after the devastating tornado. So the state has already been reeling from all this severe weather, especially central Oklahoma. And these were mesonet rainfall totals so the rain had stopped at this point on July 27th. And you can see it looks like up in northwestern Oklahoma, about a 3-inch 2.90 measurement in Major County in Fairview, Kingfisher 3.58, and then you go down to parts of the OKC Metro 2 to 4 inches of rain. Now that's not the whole story. Let's go to the next slide here, because in between the official mesonet sites, there were pockets of heavier rain. So this is radar estimated precipitation. So you look at central Oklahoma right there. The red shading is between 3 and 4, about 3 and 5 inches of rainfall. And then when you start to go to the pink, that's in parts of Caddo County, you start talking about 6 to 8 inches of rain. So that was Caddo County, went down south to Kiowa County into Cotton County in southern parts of Oklahoma. And these are just extreme rainfall rates really for any part of the year, but let alone the end of July and August, really a dry time of year. And this was, obviously an exception to that after an already horrible year with those May tornadoes and the lives lost and the devastation with that. So now there's more flooding. So here's some images from all this rainfall. Again, that was July 25th through 26th. This is in Grady County. So Grady and Caddo counties, that's where we saw the 6 to 8 inch totals. It looks to me like part of I don't know if that's a drainage ditch or something had broken loose. Maybe part of a stream.
Like a dam went out.
It
may have been a part of irrigation on some farmland, but
that was probably meant to hold water back into some sort of reservoir. Because the way things are leaning, it looks like that was not supposed to be there.
No. Looks brand new move.
It's brand new. So that was up in Grady County, a little bit closer to central Oklahoma. We go now to Cotton County in southern Oklahoma, and this is just fields that were so flooded they washed out the road. And this was taken after the rain had ended and things had started to recede. I mean, just, man.
But this still would be a time when I believe you would tell me, turn around, don't drown.
Absolutely, because a lot of that water can be moving very, very rapidly.
And be much deeper. There could be a drop-off you don't know about because you don't know if the road is washed out underneath. Too many variables.
Absolutely. Sinkholes, washed out road, all that stuff. We got just enough time here to show you the 7-day forecast, which I do want to get to because this is this afternoon, 102 hot. The heat index in central Oklahoma, 110 plus. Could get close to 120 in eastern Oklahoma. Basically a carbon copy for tomorrow, 15% chance of a few sprinkles, nothing more than that. A few showers Friday morning, then sunshine. However, the winds change on Friday. Friday doesn't cool down itself, but Saturday and Sunday, 93 and 91. Our average is 94, so that's actually below average for once. We're right on average on Monday. Here's the bad thing. After about 3 days below average, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's back to triple digits.
But at least the weekend looks nice.
It's centered for the weekend. You can go to the pool without absolutely baking to death, waiting to get in.
No heat stroke.
So no heat stroke. That's right. Good timing for the weekend, but yes, back to the triple digits, which we'll, of course, continue to follow deeper into our August. It is that time again when we have to say goodbye to you, but we will welcome seeing you next Wednesday on What's Up With This Weather. Stay safe. Again, check the back seat and bring those pets indoors.